Welcome on back in, folks. It is Valorant Challengers #1, and you guys are watching the mainstream. It is NSG, it is Valorant, and wherever you guys are in the world, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. My name is Upmine, joined here by Sully, and we're about to get started in map number 2 between Gen.G and NRG. But Gen.G, they seemed like they were very much on the road to making one of the biggest comebacks in Tier 1 NA Val.
Yeah, it felt like they finally came alive. I mean, we spoke very highly of Sean in the pregame statistically. Again, let me remind you, one of the best in this event, if not the best. 366 average combat
Absolutely
score,
the best.
a 280 ADR, and a 2.08 KD. Now, that was not the Sean we expected to see in that first map. He did not look like himself at all. I mean, he was going out crazy, sure, but it didn't seem like Sean really clicked until that second half. It took him a minute to wake up. It took him about 13 rounds to wake up. But when he woke up, Gen.G looked deadly. All it took, though, for NRG was 2 rounds, and I think that was just enough, or just the right amount for NRG to close it out, and just enough to make it hard for Gen.G to make that comeback.
It almost seemed like in half #1, Sean was the one making all the space in the world for this team, but none of it was really clicking. On the defensive side, he woke up and he absolutely started fragging for the squad. You guys saw his 4K earlier. I mean, God, one of the best highlights of the day thus far already. But even then, NRG still ended up pulling off what was a little bit of a miracle at the end of things, especially with Sam in the 1v3. And gosh, this situation could be played a whole lot better. Michael still going for the wide swing a little bit later on, and from then on, it was just an easy 13th. But still, we're gonna swipe that one aside because Gen.G, honestly, they got their mental back in place. NRG, instead of getting all that cockiness that we mentioned before, that confidence, they were still brought back down to earth. They realized that Gen.G is still a team that can still tack on a couple of rounds for them. Maybe if it seemed like NRG was still pugging a couple of rounds, Gen.G was still there to counteract them strategically. But now here on Haven, everything needs to be on point because now NRG, this is their map pick. It's the map that they're comfortable on.
Yeah, this is one of the best maps for NRG in the VCT alone. They've played it 3 times, and in those 3 times, the combined rounds that were won against them, or the rounds that they lost in total, only stack up to 7. Get that through your head. 3 games, and they let through only 7 rounds. So statistically, and looking at this one, NRG looks so good on Haven, and even in recent times, they as well looked really good. They lost to Sentinels 11-13 in that massive 3-1 ended up taking them down. So this is a very strong map for them, and I can't wait to see what they bring. But on the flip side, Gen.G, another really good strong map. We spoke about how good this map pool was for both sides. Gen.G 4-0 on Bind in the VCT. Well, they are 4-0 here as well on Haven. Another super strong map, but they didn't have maybe the stats to boast, right? They've won every single game, but some of them have been close. A 16-14 win over the Knights, I think, in the round of 32. So Gen.G, it's a strong map, but it isn't necessarily their strongest. And NRG, they definitely have a slight leverage over them, given it how fast they play and how aggressive they want to get. I'm excited for this game because both teams are looking explosive right now.
NRG, they're going to have a fun time here on Haven, I would like to say, but they're really going to have to pick up a little bit of steam over towards the defender side, because really what I'm mentioning in terms of having fun is that attacking side. Because, man, these players in terms of Shanks and Sam, they find one choke point, they find one isolated position, and they can just make their way on easy peasy, couple of wide swings here and there. It's their playground, but in terms of this agent select, it seems more or less what we expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most bread and butter. I feel like the Phoenix for Sam, the Phoenix on the other side for Gen.G, alongside Quinn, finally back in the Jet Op. It felt like the last map was a lot of experimenting for both teams. You kind of set it up that this is the time for teams to experiment, figure out what works. And one big thing that's been brought to, I feel like, a lot of pros' attention, a lot of teams, is they need to diversify their agent composition pick. But this map, there is everything on the line for both of these teams. Gen.G, a chance for a 3rd, and NRG looking for a 2-0, so they're bringing everything. EU back on the Sova. We mentioned he is arguably one of the best and most consistent players on Sova in the North American region, up with the likes of Hiko and Sinatra. The way he plays it is just fantastic, so we'll see if he can keep that going here for the side of NRG. I feel like this is the map where he truly made his name be known to everybody about how dang good he is on Sova, so I am pumped to see him back on it.
Oh, this is Sova's playground in a sense. The A and the C sites, I mean, consider them lost whenever you actually have a Sova on board, because you just get the most insane highlight plays. The lineups over towards C is very much reliant on the shock darts. and getting yourself at least a little bit more control over towards side. But when it comes to the A site, oh man, I mean, if you remember BCJ, dude, that is so pliable. Whether you're on a retake or whether you're on site, you could still take up so much space because of how open that site actually is in terms of the outside areas. There's not too many places for you to hide. Sova can have so much fun on this map, and I can't wait to see what both Michael and EU have for us today. But even then, folks, we are seeing most of Gen.G this early on, mostly stacked around the C site with 3 players, actually 4 players, for NRG ready to go on a fast rotate.
Yeah, they do have a retake cam set up in Gen.G, fast pace. That's the tempo you want. Let Sean do his thing. Let him find kills, and let some maybe explode in as well. Frenzy to their faces. It's the dynamic duo, the deadly duo of Shanks and Som. Silence in the works, and they take the kills for themselves. Nothing that you can do if you're Gen.G right now. 4 versus 1, and it is a sweep from NRG on the retake. That is fast, and that is deadly.
Well, there you go. Like you mentioned, the retake cam, it was spotted out a little bit early, but this is something you just don't expect at all. Seriously, that B and C site, those were about to be retaken so easily by NRG, no matter what Gen.G did. They were hard relying, yes, on a singular player over towards the A site, so if anything, Gen.G, it was a little bit of a coin flip. It was a 3-sided coin flip. I don't know how that would work, but even then, NRG, they had all of their options covered, and because of how aggressive their players can be, especially Infinite, who we saw a little bit over towards that first map, but couldn't exactly explode purely because Shanks and Som took their shirts off. It is what it is. Now NRG in this second round, they have their SMGs, and they're facing up against the pistols of Gen.G. Gen.G, they want to maintain their economy relatively even, just so they can get a whole lot of util and the firepower back in the third round.
Right. It's not as desperate of a situation as maybe that first map, second half position where you're down 11-2, so you don't need a full buy here. They're going to try and keep themselves, like you said, economically stable. Same thing for NRG. Shanks popping off, doing what he does best, running and gunning with the Spectre. 3 kills, NRG amass. Well, there's not much you can do here if you are Gen.G. Shanks continuing this aggression. He wants the Blade Storm early, but he wants this third frag more importantly. And well, he'll be gifted that. 2 now off of the ulti. And NRG, they find a second round. All 5 players alive. No damage dealt. And it's a full bonus going into the next. But Gen.G themselves will have the guns to play with. And this is where things can get deadly. Is the pace going to hold up? Or NRG going to be able to deal with it?
If NRG deals with it, then I think we're going to see yet another map 1 type situation where, again, Gen.G, they can't get anything going early on in the game. NRG wins the bonus. I mean, that's everything for them, especially with how momentum-based the team is. I mean, from the outside looking in, if you're from Europe, if you're from Asia, you look to North America as this momentum-based region with all these players being such characters in a sense. But NRG literally embodies that. They get a sense of confidence. They get a sense of momentum, and they absolutely explode. And just like this is how they can build it up. Double long at this point, but Kusta is the one beaming through the smoke. Actually, going for the first frag and then transferring the spray onto Som. That's a massive start from Kusta, but still, Shank's still alive, still control of long, but Gen.G, they've already readjusted with GMD on the lurk over towards C.
There's that camera again, though. I think at least in this position, Infant's going to pop those cages. He's going to try and at least fake presence in the back of sight. That should be the biggest goal. A very well-timed smoke, though, here from Daps. That'll cause a whole lot of delay. Infinite, the cam is up. They know this hit is coming, but it's all about timing. Can he get the cages up at the right moment? Yes, he can. Perfect. And a big, big paranoia. And guess who's here on the site? Mr. Fourth Quarter's arrived, and he is ready to go. Flashes go in, but he's not ready at all. Never mind. Daps now in the clutch, and Gen.G well adjusted, and Daps 1v4 is looking for some exits. Anything he can get from this would be beneficial, but nothing much. Gen.G, what a great round from them.
Gotta go back on your words, Sully. Shanks was a little bit ready for that. Looked away for the flash, but even then, for the rest of that take, Gen.G, well-timed and really just opened up by Kusta more than anything. NRG, they had 3 over towards A and still 1 on a fast rotation over towards B. So if anything, they had all their options covered on that A site if Gen.G really did want to commit to that. But just well done by Gen.G. Didn't lose out on too many of their players realistically. only 2 casualties. So now going forward, their economy does start to build, but this is still very much a tense situation for really both of these teams. And Gen.G is still very much showing it in early default, as they're actually really just waiting out for NRG to start walking into those enemy lines as they've usually been doing.
Yeah, they're getting Brody prepared for aggression, right? You know, again, like you said, waiting for them to walk into it. You know Shanks likes to get aggressive. He's got a Blade Storm right now, so even more reason. Spotted out and a kill for Shanks. Nicely done from him to find the opening. And in a round like this where you invest that Blade Storm and the rest have got rifles, Gen.G need to be very cautious. Keep in mind, they walked away with all 5 players alive in the second round to make the third a bonus. So this is, again, a full, strong buy for NRG, except for Shanks, who's looking for the op in the next. But here come the curveballs. Infinite able to catch Sean through the Cypher cage, thanks to the trip, and everything falls into place. NRG in a 5v1. And Gen.G, that momentum from the last round hasn't stacked up into this one. This is going to be a third here, NRG.
Gone.
30 seconds left. This is literally all that Michael can do.
Yeah, just exits.
Just exits. Just waiting out what would be the safest positions possible.
Yeah.
Like right now, Michael is just looking over towards one angle. He can only get exposed from one angle. Could get flanked, but the chances of that are slim. But really, NRG with the early pressure once again. Gen.G, they try to make their solo take, or I'm sorry, not their solo take, but the full take over towards C. But I think more importantly, you have the players from Gen.G almost not enough pressure over towards that C site early on. And that's really attributed by how volatile the reactions from NRG has been in terms of the rotations. They put themselves in the right spots, correct, but they always have some sort of the right read in a sense.
Yeah, they always show really good presence everywhere on the map to kind of force Gen.G the way they want to go. And their retakes, NRG on the C site, when they've got the manpower and they've got the firepower, have been nothing more than, or nothing less than flawless. Again, all 5 players alive, even denying the spike at that point. So Gen.G, rough spot to be in, but they manage their economy well enough. Hwin will be the only one with lacking a gun. He picks up a frenzy in favor of the Blade Storm. We do have a slight pause, a very early one. Gen.G, one of the few teams that, at least in my mind, really fully utilizes tac pauses, right? In that first map in the second half, as soon as that half started, it took just a moment to breathe, a mental reset to get back into it. And I think this pause is to really talk things through, ensure that there can be no momentum built up for NRG, and it won't be at least a stampede like we saw in the first map where NRG gets 6-7 rounds in a row and it just gets uncontrollable.
And that's really the disaster scenario in a sense. Sean, he's been a whole lot more volatile in the early rounds.
Get out of my way.
Again, like we mentioned in the pregame, Sean statistically the best player in this tournament thus far with a 1.84 rating. And he hasn't really been able to maintain that, really that momentum or that streak in this game thus far. Of course, the second half in the first map, I mean, that was stellar, but that was when everyone was really at a high caliber level for Gen.G. But nobody can really get an opening for this squad. Hwin, however, low economy. So he decides to go full armor, full util, and he pulls out the knives. And he's actually the solo player over towards mid. He's the lurker in this round with the knives. NRG, just in the round before, they had a whole lot of pressure over towards the A main area, A site area, but this time it more looks like they're going for a little bit of a retake scenario if Gen.G really commits to this.
I mean, Sam has a run it back, right? You obviously have EU with his insane hunters here. We kind of hyped him up to be the holder of A and how good he is with his utility and how good he is in these clutches. Now Hwin is looking for these rotations. He's trying to cause a ruckus, but no one on NRG is biting. They've got a trip as well to cover their flank, so they don't need to worry about that. But this retake, there's the run it back, and Sam gets aggressive. He's been full blinded, but so is everyone else. Infinite with one. There were the trades back, and exactly what they needed as Michael holds it down. 15 seconds left though, and EU caught off guard, but it's Sam. The run it back is what he needed, and he's been sent back into the site as Hwin goes for a hero play, but NRG hold it down and the ults come to fruition. A fourth on the board, and Gen.G, the time off did nothing to help them in that one.
I mean, the ults go big. EU with a lot of early pressure with that Hunter's Fury. And, I mean, he still ends up getting a frag for his troubles. And not only that, but Gen.G, they had full control of sight. Som, he had made his way on a little bit earlier without really any noise. So Gen.G, right when they started to get a little bit comfortable off the main advantage, Som is the one that pulls out the double kill. It's the bang bang combo that, again, Gen.G, they've been dreading about this NRG squad. It's that constant pressure that they keep showing up in these rounds. And just like that, Gen.G, they're stuck back down to an eco round.
Early info for EU out towards A. There's no longer a retake setup. They just have the trips in case he needed to fall back, but now I guess it's a retake setup. However, C site heavily contested. Shanks in the back. He has 3 smokes to play with and a whole lot of frag potential. Sees the arm sticking out, and that's all he needs for 2, and that's all he needs for 3. Shanks has lit up the server, lit up the kill feed with Blue, and NRG have taken a 5th.
Well, there you go, Shanks. A little bit of stat padding too, but he makes it look flashy. 9 kills for him thus far in this game. Now Gen.G, I mean, they just have to brush it off. I mean, in their angle, in a sense, imagine them from their viewpoint. It was just literally Shanks with a couple of lineups and some easy frags. That's easy to pass by mentally, in a sense. But again, if Gen.G, they start to go back in the rounds, they start going back in the timeline. It's almost deja vu. They're like, man, is it really happening again? Is NRG really exposing us this early in the game? It simply can't happen, folks. Gen.G wants to stop it, and this is their big opportunity, but that is a good, well-instilled smoke down over towards the mid area by NRG. Still to get a little bit of early pressure on, but the run it back is online, and Sean is looking for some space, but EU is there to shut it down already. But with that space being made, Gen.G, they have control of sight. Still a whole lot of util being used. Good trade back by Kusta, as it just so happens to be that he's in the right position. Now GMD with 1. Som with a wide swing gets another. How is Som even in that position? There goes the ulti back for the Cypher. So much information being made as the network is online. Now NRG with control of sight. Win looking out for a couple of players to swing their way through, but he's fully flashed. Som with the space. EU with another one. And now it's just gonna have to be EU. One more kill for at least to take this one out. And Sean has the angle. There you go. Sean was the instigator at the beginning of the round. And Sean, he closes the book on the round as Gen.G, they're the ones with the constant pressure this time, fighting all the 1v1s. And NRG, they get choked out on the B site, but it was anyone's game at the end of things.
Yeah, it felt like it. Gen.G, Shanks in particular, finding a kill onto Michael, who had the Hunter's Fury. You saw him trying to play around it, sitting in the back of window, and it changes the game plan on that retake for Gen.G. They were going to pivot around the Hunter's Fury, but with Shanks getting that frag, it really did become anyone's game. Now, NRG in this one, no up for Shanks. He sits on the back side of C, and Gen.G, again, constant pressure. You mentioned they were the ones taking the duels. They will be stopped here for now to allow at least Som to get the ulti online. They'll run it back available for an A-site retake. And they have a cam prepared as well by Infinite. 2 trips up. Cage is ready to keep them from pressing into the back. Gen.G, are they aware of this? NRG have planned accordingly. And again, that run it back, you saw how crucial it was in the round that NRG did retake the A site flawlessly. Well, they're gonna need it here again, as Gen.G have now reached the site. They've reached the climax. Cage is not up. They'll be using that for the retake as well. And with the spike going down, there's that run it back, and here they go.
Som just tries to make his way on through, but that's good for some space. Still not a whole lot of damage, and Gen.G, this is really their biggest challenge thus far in terms of a hard retake from NRG. It's a 5-on-5, and then they go. It's Som with the first 2 frags. Shanks is here to help out. So Michael on the back lines over towards Shorts. Still has one back. Infinite's essentially beaming through the smoke. He gets the kill back. Now 2v2. GMD with a good one. Michael with a flick, and now Michael is the one dictating the pressure. Now Daps,
he's sticking.
He's still going. He's sticking. No, Michael, you gotta be kidding me. It's the most anticlimactic finish that you can get. Michael is still very much sharp on the aim, but he gives up on the battle at the end of things, anticipating that the stick wouldn't come in. But Sully, you already know what the saying is. Pros don't fake, and Daps is as professional as you can get.
In the world he's from, it's 100% true. Oh my gosh, Michael. so unlucky, and you see the economic implications it has for this round. Little to no credits to buy up in a full force. They've got to go on an eco here. Pistols and a single phantom for Michael. He's the one that saved it from the last, and he's going to do anything he can, but an early Hunter's Fury. This could be a lot of damage, and it tags onto one. Info for them, but Shanks does arrive. He's got one trade back in Quinn on 30 HP. Such a difficult position to pivot around, but he's done enough to get two. And Quinn with a flank, but EU was right on him. 2v1. The birthday boy needs another gift, and this one is not going to come to him on time. 7-2, NRG. They do lose quite a few players, and Gen.G, that pace definitely caught NRG a little off guard.
No, absolutely. Gen.G actually had a stellar opportunity with most of their players really going towards those back lines and just fighting those rotations from NRG head on. That's really what Gen.G was missing from these C takes, is having pressure in the back lines. But even then, NRG still win it out.
Yep.
But that's good for the mentality of Gen.G. Like you mentioned before, Gen.G still getting at least a little bit back onto NRG, and still with a couple of rounds left in the half, could get some economic damage going to maybe lead this into an eco in a couple of rounds. Gen.G needs to win some rounds though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, last 2.5, try and get it, or last 3, try and get it to 5 here if possible. The cage nullified because Sam has decided, I'm going to get really aggressive. Now, he should be anticipating an Owl Drone. I think that's why Shanks has changed his position up to take out the Owl Drone without exposing Sam. The Owl Drone goes out mid, so this is a free position for Sam. The only thing that could clear him out is a camera now. Even then, that's not going to give them a lot of info. Daps with the TP. Looking for something, only finds a couple of bullets, but that's just enough. Gen.G slowed down with 50 seconds left to regroup back to this site, and Shanks, all he needed was a right click to take down Kusta, and while they were thinking of A, they're probably double guessing themselves, but this TP is going to draw everything away here for NRG, and GMD, goodness me, what a dink onto him.
Yeah, no, there you go, but Shanks was already in the back lines of A, so GMD just gets exposed. Now Daps, the leader, he gets one back with a slick kill, but Sean makes one even better. I think we've seen 3 hard taps already in the round, and there you go, Michael. You definitely not expecting anyone in garage. So just like that, it's gonna come down to none other than Shanks now in the 1v2. 2 more players remaining out from around the corner. And my Shanks! The power of the right clicks! It's Mr. Fourth Quarter himself. He's still clutch. And from downtown, he nails down Gen.G in what was their biggest opportunity to get some momentum back in this game, to get some life. And Shanks, what a play!
The slightest mismovement of his cursor and none of those right clicks connect. How does he do it? He tweeted shirts are awful, and sure as hell they are right now. Shanks, insane, the right click. Oh my god, nothing you can do if you are Sean. There's no words to describe this man. Built different, cut from a different cloth, and NRG are up now to 8. 6 rounds separate them, and Gen.G, that should have been theirs by all means.
No, it should have. Absolutely it should have, but again, it's just Shanks doing his thing. Well, here we go again, folks. I don't know how many times I need to say this, but Gen.G, somehow they still have a chance. I don't know what the mental barrier could possibly be for this team, but it almost seems like at least one player from NRG always has something in their backpack, something under their belt to win out some of these rounds. And well, for now, Gen.G, they're a little bit more scattered, and they actually want to take early garage control for really one of the first times that NRG is actually contesting it. It actually works. Sean gets the first frag back, but EU back in the sniper's area of garage. Snags back the frag, but Infinite. He needs that cage up, and that's beautiful. He's not going to get spotted. He's still around the left corner. GMD is still here, and Gen.G, they're still not going to really expend too much of that utility and trying to hold out. But again, that's such a decent spot in a sense, but it's a one and done, Sully.
Yeah. Very tricky to play around.
30 seconds.
If there's anyone that's going to turn into more than just one, there's that Hunter's Fury. I was going to mention, I thought they were going to save it for the retake. Infinite trigger discipline. But unfortunately, GMD checks his corners. 4 versus 2 now. NRG, a difficult retake. There's a cam early in spawn that'll give them all the information in the world. He hasn't been spotted just yet. Yeah, this is a really weird angle for at least that camera. Will finally be spotted. Quinn in the back, getting spammed down by Shanks. But time is ticking, and this is near impossible for the boys of NRG. Shanks, big paranoia though, coming out from Daps to try and open it up. And there's the swing, there's the kill. Shanks finding the first, but time is ticking now, Gus.
Time's against NRG, but that hasn't stopped them yet. But what does stop them is Win. He's been so pivotal in the back lines for some of these rounds for Gen.G. He's really been the one really giving a lot of opportunities for this team and some of the takes, but this time he really makes it count with a double at the end of things. And now NRG looking into this last round, just looking to close things out with a 9th, or Gen.G could potentially just snag up what is a little bit better of a scoreline than what was the first map of Bind. And the buy is actually not too great for NRG either. Still a bulldog, and they're actually contemplating, you know, util and armor and the compensation of firepower.
Oh, big pressure again. Sam with a run it back. He's gonna take him into spawn.
Oh, that's huge.
Think down. Tripwire revealed. Spam through the smoke. Nothing you can really do about that one. He does at least get control. Smoke dropped as well in the back. If Sam wanted to swing, he could. And yeah, already Kusta backing away. Doesn't want any of that business. GMD tucked in the cubby. But how do Gen.G go about this one? Sam with all of this info, all of this control. They know this is going to be a B or a C hit. And you have EU, or apologies, Daps not too far. And I guess as well, EU not too far from the B site. They will retake at least the garden area. Get some information from it. But it's not enough. Gen.G have to commit to C. And again, it's infinite in the back. Shanks and EU here as well. It's going to be an ironclad hold as Gen.G start to ramp up the tempo, but here comes the recon bolt, and now comes the hit.
Ooh, weighing on the front lines, and Michael with a 1-2 punch. There you go. Gen.G with their slickest C take yet, and Kusta just beaming on through. Gets a massive frag, but Sean! That is just a rare miss. But ultimately, not too effective in the rest of the round, or not too consequential. Instead, now it is Daps in the 1v4, now a 1v3. Only 11 HP. This one's practically done for, but yeah, no, just well done by Gen.G off the take.
8-4 they ended. Not the best they could have gone. They were hoping for 7-5, but I think this one, with only one round between 5 and 4, not going to hurt them too much. Now, Gen.G, the second half on the defensive side should hopefully be a lot easier. Now, in the past, I think Haven has definitely become a lot more split between the sides, more 50-50. NRG, again, very good on the defense and on the attack, edging with a 59% win rate on the attacking side and 58% on the defense. It's only a 1% difference. That could change the game. Here are some of the great clips we had. I mean, huge plays. I mean, this clutch from Shanks specifically, I feel like encapsulates this entire game. He's having one heck of a series so far, topping the server at the moment. But can he keep it up? This second half, we saw that Gen.G were able to build themselves up their own momentum on the defensive side and bring things back to contention. Can NRG shut it down as Gen.G look aggressive down B mid and NRG have their sights on A?
EU looking for the lineup, and almost everyone from NRG is over towards that short area. Gen.G, they've already taken on all this pressure over towards long 2, and not only that, but 3 around sight. So now Gen.G, they almost seem ready and raring to go, but look at that shock dart again. Yet another lineup coming in for Michael. EU still fighting over towards long. That's a 1-2 combo again, this time using a shock dart into the ghost. Spike is still down for NRG. Michael now around the corner as Shanks, the paranoia, the near sight, it goes out right on time. Still Kusta with one back. Huge smoke. They could cover up Kusta for a little bit of a ninja defuse, but that is well done by Sam. Wow. Just the movement on him. He was essentially ready for a player to make that wide swing. Nobody else had the information. Sam just had to go for the intuition, and the rest of the team couldn't do anything about it. NRG with a good hold, and more importantly, with a round.
This is where Gen.G strive, though. In the high-pressure situations, when everything matters most, they somehow pull it out, and they are pulling the full buy out. Stingers, a frenzy for Kusta, and Sean sure to follow in their footsteps. Pressure is on here, Gen.G. You've got a performance to show us. Down by 5. A lot easier to manage than the 10-2 half scoreline we had in the first game, where it eventually went to 11-2. But Gen.G, can they replicate the second round conversion again? It's NRG with a quick take on the C side, and Shank's already with a whole lot of space.
The only reason why he has so much space is because Gen.G, they've given up the site. They're going for a full retake here,
There's
Sully.
even a hold in the flank as well. Look at Infinite's
Oh my.
positioning. Cam set up so they have nothing to worry about.
That's wonderful.
This is going to be so difficult. And when you said it earlier about the C site and how big these shock darts are, well, I sure as heck know EU's got something in Infinite. All the info in the world. They've got no idea. They are oblivious, and Infinite is fed these kills. Now the retake has been dismantled with just one play, one man alone. And Gen.G, it's unfortunately going to be double digits for NRG here as they find themselves 10. And Gen.G, they were not prepared for anything NRG had in that one.
Yeah, that is almost literally just a set hold for a second round conversion. So again, NRG, they ended up putting all of their bodies over towards long and just hiding them, allowing Infinite to essentially just have a little bit of space over towards the spawn area. And that's really what teams would do in the second round, or at least their opponents that they're the ones on the save. They get a little bit desperate. They want to wrap around over towards C. Or NRG, they've just done their homework on Gen.G. They know that a couple of players, they like to go for the flanks over towards long on retakes. And indeed it happened. Infinite with a great combo. Not only that, but a paranoia comes in clutch. I mean, that is just strategical gold. But now Gen.G, they need to show up. They need to pull out their own strap book in a sense, because now this might be their last stand. They have the rifles out with not too much time to go in this game.
Oh, another fast play. It's GMD in the back, not ready whatsoever. Saw him running and gunning. This is what he does best. Run it back, and he's running it through the spot. I think if he was maybe given another second, win was his, but 11-4 NRG. Only need 2 more to go. And with Gen.G's economic position, Gus, it's do or die here. They lose this round, no credits. And NRG on the doorstep of semifinals and the VALORANT Challengers Open Qualifier number 1.
I don't think we can really pass by the fact that, well, you know, Sully, there is one key on the keyboard that this NRG team really loves to hold. Like, sometimes it does get a little bit worn out, but they do order HyperX keycaps, like keycap replacements, essentially once every other week. You know what that W button, right? They love to wear that one out. They really do. And Sam just proved it. But at least in this round, they can't exactly, you know, maybe stick on to that, maybe that reliancy. But Sam, he's the speedster. He's already up long, just trying to get at least a frag back. But now Gen.G with an early frag from Win, as actually he's been starting to heat up a little bit in the last couple of rounds. NRG, they're the ones that really have to fight back for this round.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Exactly what they needed. Quinn on the operator can be a very big game changer. You already see it's netted them 1 kill. But NRG have adjusted. They see Quinn with an op on A. No, they're not going to go there, but GMD in the back. Ooh, caught out, and Sean will be surely cleared on out. Great take from NRG, but Gen.G, we know they're good on these retakes. Michael with the first, but he's being spammed down. He has a Hunter's Fury, and he will try and deny the spike plant, but to no avail. They're going to get it down here in a second with just a reposition, and Quinn clean on the op. Puts it in a 3v2 where Gen.G have an advantage but are grouped up in spawn. And you talked about the W key. Putting keycaps are on, and Sam is looking for something.
Oh, baby. The putting keycaps, that real fire then. There you go. There's 2 sides to it. There's the safe Sam and there's the aggressive Sam. And this time, Sam really comes up big. But now it's the 1v2. Daps around the corner. He's the leader. But now this time he has to be the fragger. And it works out for him. 1v2, Gen.G, it was their time to shine. It was their time to really get this game back on track. But it's Daps in such a beautiful position, had to wait out so patiently for that second frag. And there you go, folks. NRG 12-4. It's map and match point coming up for the NRG squad.
I said Gen.G, when they are in the worst positions, backs against the wall, they come up big. Well, here is their time. Win. With the Blade Storm, is all he's got to use. But can he turn this around? Early aggression down long. 2-player spotted in Shanks. flips the switch, and he's looking to end this one early. Just like that, it's a 5v3, and the man has got the Blade Storm. He's looking for a little bit more. There's nobody in the spawn just yet. A flank coming in, but there's a trip to watch. And Gen.G, how do you even attempt this?
Slow and steady, one kill at a time. That's all that's going through Gen.G's head at the moment. They have almost no information up towards that C site. And instead, NRG, they're the ones with a whole lot of info. That is huge off the cam, but even then, time is just getting chunked off the clock. No opening frags. Shank's able to get one onto Michael on the back line. Same thing with EU. GMD is going to get overwhelmed. And just like that, NRG, in one of the most dominant games that we've seen thus far in the Challengers, they're going to take down Gen.G, and they move on to the semifinals.
NRG, such a dominant performance. I said it in the very beginning that across the 3 maps they've played, they've only lost 7 rounds total. Well, here, they made it 11, Gen.G, but that's still nothing to boast about. NRG looked like a whole different animal when it came to this series. They've been improving constantly, and they looked so good today, but that's not to take anything away from Gen.G. Recent roster changes, but they still made such a deep run, and they have themselves a spot in the close qualifier, but it's NRG that have a spot in semifinals.
I mean, honestly, congrats to Gen.G. This was a very tough bracket, and we saw a lot of the top tier 1 teams go down yesterday. So seeing Gen.G actually survive that entire bracket is more than commendable. They still have a very bright future with Kusta. They still have to develop him a little bit, though. But now going forward, it's really NRG that they had their rebuilding phase. They had their switch ups in their lineup, and now it is really their time to really shine. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a couple of replays, and there's a whole lot of them for this map.
So much to digest. I can't get over Shanks, dude. He had one of the best series I think we've seen from him in his career. I mean, this clutch was just outrageous. 4 kills on a Blade Storm in a 1v. I guess we can call it 3 because of the run it back. I mean, that is just absurd. And Gen.G, I feel like they did everything they could. But again, when you got a player like Shanks and Som that are just fragging out on all premises, it's really hard to battle against that. We said on Bind that NRG, mechanically, individually, in the 1v1s, they looked so good. And they really showed it here on Haven.
No, they look great. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be NRG moving on into Saturday. They have semifinals coming up next. And of course, we have a second game coming up between LG and NV. But before we go, we wanted to thank our sponsor for this phase of Challengers. Thank you so much to HyperX, our official peripheral sponsor for this tournament. And of course, you guys know him. You guys love him. Every day, billions of people wake up, eat, and fire up a game as part of their daily routine. Console or PC, casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, thank you so much to HyperX. Like I mentioned yesterday, this wireless headset that I got from them, it is almost literally my daily driver, and although I am using some earbuds at the moment, these things fit like a charm. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with our second set of the night to decide the second placement in for semifinals here for Challenger. My name is Opmine, joined here by Sully, and we'll be right back.
I feel like I need to defend my team's honor here, because this is just turning into a bit of a dog battle.
Like in groups always look.
I'm cutting you off here. I'm cutting you off. Cutting you off. He said G2's winning it. He said G2's winning it.
We need to wait till the next EU tournament, which could be in about 10 years now.
Take it with like a grain of salt.
No,
but
that's
that
no
being
fun.
said,
Take it super literally.
Spike defused.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice. And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless? On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing. Wow.